Alright, I've got a deck here. Slight change to the Oloro deck from a couple of days ago. You may have already seen this change. Basically, I took out Mana Leak and I put in Supreme Verdict. So we're going to see how that plays out here. I've got a number of actual matches against tuned decks, all of which were quite challenging. And we will play it out, and hopefully you'll enjoy these games. Maybe we'll find out if Verdict is better or not. Still on the fence about it, but I'll keep testing till I know. So the first hand here against Edric in this match is a mulligan, and second hand mulligan, third hand I decided to keep it because it's got a vault, and I make a critical misplay here, and it is going to hurt. So the card I got was Staff of Nin. The card I should have got is Humility, and now we'll find out how bad of a mistake that was. She plays Glen Elendra, so I would have been able to drop Humility here, and from there, pretty easy to win the game. Instead, I go ahead and play this staff, figuring, Glen can't counter Oloro, and while Glen will be able to counter something, the staff will shoot Glen, so he'll only get to counter one thing, and meanwhile I'll draw extra cards off the staff. Should be good to go. Nope. Acidic Slime comes down, ruins my day. So I valiantly try to play it out, but there's almost no point here. So what I tutor for with Imperial Seal is something Glen can't counter, a creature. So I go ahead and get myself Metamorph, and then I do the Tithe trick, hoping that if he'll sack Glen, he doesn't bite. That's no problem. So I play Metamorph and I copy Glen. Now the nice thing is when this thing persists, I can persist it back as something else. I can persist it back as an Acidic Slime. So I figure this way I can block one creature, persist back as a slime, kill a Soul Ring, and get a little bit of value that way. But then he plays Survival and attacks, and Survival looks like a bigger threat than Soul Ring, so I go ahead and persist back as a slime and kill the Survival. But he gets to clone his Acidic Slime there. Sets me back from the play which I thought I was going to make next turn, which was Oloro, which might have also gotten me in the game. But I have to wait another turn. And then here I go ahead and just trade card for card. He draws 3 more again, and Natural Orders into Trastodon, using my own tricks against me. All because none of this would have happened if I had got for Humility. That's terrible, but whatever. And we'll play it out. You can see, watch the abuse happen. And he's not able to attack with much. So if I could get, so I figured until he played the Sylvan, I figured like, okay, he shut himself down to only like a card or 2 per turn. If I could draw a land off the top of Plains, then the next card would have to be like Terminus. If Sylvan weren't in play, then maybe I have a chance. Nonsense. I was doomed. So, all because I didn't get Humility. Kicking myself over and over and over for that misplay. So, game 2, these are matches. When you're playing against good decks, you definitely want to be playing matches because you don't want luck to decide the winner. You want whoever's consistently going to win to make reveal itself through playing. So I impulse end of turn here and decide to take a Worn Power Stone over, like, I think I had Fabricate, and I forget what the other options were. But I take the Worn Power Stone and then use it to develop while sitting behind Mana Drain and Vault. I'm in great shape this game. He plays Magus of the Library. Now, if he was smart, he would just stop playing cards and then... I guess Fauna Shaman isn't a bad call there, but he could have drawn to 6 and drawn to 7. At any rate, I'm able to vault. I vault into Humility. I play Humility. And then, since I don't have enough mana to Mana Drain, I go ahead and just strip a tower, play Vedalken Shackles, and say go. And now he's under the trap. He tries to get a Viridian Shaman into play. Does nothing. I go ahead and kill some more blue. He plays Birthing Pod. I don't have a problem with that. I have Humility out. Go ahead and just chill out under a counterspell. Plays Edric. Again, Humility's in play, but I'll go ahead and switch out the Fauna Shaman for the Edric. That way, if he draws like Crows and Grip, and he grips a Humility, I've got Edric, so he won't be drawing a bunch of cards off of the Crows and Grip. So he just keeps digging, but I don't know what he's doing over there because none of that actually has any impact. I wasn't sure. Maybe he didn't get what humility does, like the impact it has on coming to play. But at some point, it's time to time to concede. And when I put Mana Drain under an Isochron, he realizes now's the time. Seems good. Kind of like what he must have been wondering when he double trasted on me. Why is he still playing? Alright, so game 3, I have to mulligan again. I mulligan into this, and I figure this is acceptable, but it needs some help to do good things. However, fortunately, he mulliganed as well, and since he did, I try to go for the early mana screw there. Gets Fauna Shaman down. I needed to protect myself against, you know, whatever I can with Seal of Cleansing. So, I mean, I could have Imperial Sealed there, I suppose, but I decided I'm going to save it. So he goes and gets Elves. He's obviously hurting for mana. He transmuted, he turned a Woodfall Primus into a Llanowolf, and then he couldn't even cast it. And he plays this piece of crap Wingcrafter. So, good for me. So I go ahead and tutor right now. He plays his Llanowar Elf and swings. And of course I draw Humility. The card that I should have gotten in the first place last time. This is like one of the key cards to beating Edric. So all your creatures are no good, and I'm going to beat you. Because you have a bunch of blanks. So we finish that, and he wanted to play again, so we play again. And this time he's going to go first, but he mulligans, and I decide this hand I've got here is a keeper. He's got first turn Chrome Mox, and he imprints a Sylvan Library and says misclick, and I'm like, ouch. Because if he would have put a green spell into that Chrome Mox and played first turn Sylvan, I think I pretty much lose this game. Like, there's almost no question. Sylvan is insane. But he didn't, so he goes ahead and plays his Edric there instead of leveling up Tree Speaker, which was what I was hoping for, so I could plow it in response. So I just kill the Edric, so he won't draw some cards right away. And I thought about rifting the Mox here, but I decided that what I'm going to do is get a Chalice down and play a blocker. So luckily for me, he doesn't have anything too serious going on that turn, so I go ahead and trinket for Crypt. He gets Elves and pitches Sower to fetch an Elder, so he can start getting his hand back. So I mean, his deck's pretty hardcore. It's pretty scary. I go ahead and search for Mystical Tutor, setting myself up for Terminus. He fetches double land and a card, so he got to Ancestral basically, and then plays Opposition, which is pretty nasty, and an Elvish Mystic. Pretty nasty. However, I've got, during my upkeep, Rift. All that stuff back to his hand. I take a cheap shot here, but because there's nothing I have to worry about as far as haste goes over there. Otherwise, I wouldn't even risk tapping my trinket. And of course, with all those cards in his hand, replaying the Chrome Mox and everything else is not too challenging, but it bought me some time, and it did get me a card. So, opposition's off the table. And so, time was all I needed. Upkeep, I fetch Terminus. Excuse me. So, upkeep, I fetch Terminus, and then I go to Terminus him, and then he scoops in the face of that. I was going to sweep the board, drop the Lantern down, and then play land tax as well. And then from there, I was in great. The only two cards left in my hand were these, and it had tons of mana. And he was done for. So he scoops, but that's game 1 of the second match. So we play game 2, which he had potentially could have killed me, but for that misclick, I think the game would have been totally different if you would have got that first turn Sylvan down. So I play first turn Imperial Seal. He gets Birthing Pod, and I sealed for Mana Crypt, my most popular Imperial Seal target. And then just pass the turn. So he goes for Edric, and to stall, I lapse his commander. He fetches up Rofellos. I Enlighten Tutor, and here's where I go get Humility and win the game, except I decided to try something different. I wanted to see what would happen. So I go and get the Abyss. Let's see how good the Abyss is. So Rofellos dies. It's a Fauna Shaman, and then immediately pops it for Viridian, which sets me back hugely. hugely. So what's better, the Abyss or Birthing Pod? We're gonna find out. So he gets Wood Elves, Pod, Master of Waves, Master of Waves. Holy crap. I get rid of Mind Twist because what good is it to Mind Twist away Edric here? He's just gonna replay it. So he sends in for some beats, but he doesn't play his commander first. So I think like, okay, well maybe we've got a chance here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and play this and then fetch myself up a Well of Lost Dreams, figuring I have a decent chance. Like, I know he can go get Acidic Slime, but then that'll kill his other tokens and that'll make the Abyss good again. Plus, if he slimes this instead of the Abyss, then, you know, it's not as bad. Look at this, Avenger of freaking Zendikar. Ouch. So, pretty non-standard Edric deck over there, but definitely has some interesting stuff going. So anyway, I'm taking a beating, but if I get a sweeper, I'm good. He plays Primus, but doesn't take down the Abyss, so still a sweeper, I'm probably good. I need him to cast Edric though, so I can spell crumple the damn thing. He plays Genesis Wave, and I figure I'm going to take a risk, but let it go. But I mean, 4 hits. Genesis Wave for 4, and all 4 of them are hits. That's pretty disgusting. And look at that. If he would have played his commander and I countered it, then this turn I could have Supreme Verdict. He would have got to persist his back. I mean, maybe he would have killed the Abyss with it, most likely because he wouldn't want it to die on his turn. I could live with that. I could try to get in a game. You know, if his commander was tucked, he had 1 less card in his hand, his commander was gone, and all of his stuff was dead. So Verdict here would have been pretty good. But unfortunately, with that Genesis Wave hitting the way that it did, there's no outs here. So I just go ahead and we'll play it out, but I'm dead. The only way I can possibly win here would be if I drew Terminus, not Verdict. Like, I need to Terminus so that this gets tucked so it doesn't persist back, and then from there I'm okay. But when he goes to play Phantasmal Image, that's it. It's all over. I mean, he's just gonna Phantasmal Image, Woodfall Primus, continue to abuse Pod. So what's better, the Abyss or Pod? Pod by a mile. Of course, it was all because I didn't go get Humility. Humility shuts down everything over there, and I would have been fine. But it was definitely interesting to see what happens if I give my opponent a window. And now we know. So, first turn Shackles over here. I don't even want to play with him possibly countering it. Turn 2 Tax. Man, another Chrome Mox draw, but he somehow fails to realize that he can't. It doesn't tap for blue, or maybe he meant to cast the Elder here. Maybe it was another misclick. I have no idea. I'm not going to find out though. Let's put some pressure on his mana. So now he gets down Edric, but too late, my friend. And I rip Terminus off the top. So I was planning to, just tithe and get 1 less land, but you know, go get a white-blue island, play it, steal Edric. But with this, outstanding. What a lucky rip. So Terminus takes him down, I kill his blue, and now if he plays the land, I'm going to tax, plus he's going to fuel his Shackles. He does. And in the face of me drawing 3 islands, and of course he doesn't know I have Forbid, but yeah, in the face of all that, he gives up. Shackles is another one of those key cards against Edric. Shackles and Humility are the 2 best, and of course Terminus is good, and Verdict are good, but Shackles and Humility are the primary win cons against Edric. So here, I was playing against... Oh, so I was setting up matches hoping to play against good people, because generally, like, poor players won't join a match. But this guy randomly joined, and I might as well just run through it. This wasn't exactly a super great game or anything, but it was pretty amusing how both games played out, in a sense, just because I had these great multiple copy effect draws. So, turn 3... boom, boom, boom. So at the end of turn 3, I have 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15 mana on turn 3. It's probably wise of him to scoop. So we play the second game. I mean, that was just a fluke, right? Nobody draws like that twice. Haha. Oh, look at this hand. So I get first turn Drowned Catacombs. Second turn Vampiric. and play Third Dynamo and clone it and play this, and it's turn 2, and I have 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 mana on turn 2. Not the 15 on turn 3, but you know, it'll do. This is why I really think that playing the max copy effects makes the most sense, as opposed to playing more consistent signets and stuff. Because the fact is, like, if nobody has anything to copy and play, the game is developing in an unusual manner. Typically, there's going to be a target, and most of the time the target's going to be better than a signet. Especially in this deck, you can just abuse it really hard, and I think it just makes sense. Like, even if I weren't copying mana artifacts, even if I were copying like shackles or something, it's still really great, right? So anyway, I thought about Merchant Scrolling here for Force of Will, and then next turn I Mind Twist him and force it through with Future Sight. But I decided the better play is to go get Teachings. That way, on the next turn, I can just Teachings. I can just Teachings for Force of Will here anyway, but it gives me a flashback play after the fact. So it sets me back a turn, I thought, but I drew a sack land, and so, since I did, I go ahead and just go straight for the twist after declaring my attack step. If he has a counter spell, I'm gonna tutor up Force of Will. Otherwise, I'm not gonna worry about it. He does have a counter spell, and turn 4, his hand gets dump trucked, and game ends. So it was just kind of amusing how insane like both of those draws were able to be, just because of the copy effects. So here I'm playing against Scoot. He's another buddy, and he's challenging opponent. He's got a Doran deck. This is his marquee deck he worked on for a very long time, so I think I'm in for a challenge here. Probably a pretty serious one. So he gets Stoneforge Mystic, and again, I don't listen to myself like I didn't with the Humility turn. So here's the thing. I have to steal Stoneforge before I can equip it with that sword. And I only have one island. So the correct play for me here is to play probably Godless Shrine, Mox Diamond away the Swamp, cast Vedalken Shackles and say go. Now on his turn he can play the sword, but he can't equip it. And on my turn I go get an island and take this thing, and I'm in the game. But I decide I'm going to get the island right now, because what could possibly go wrong with that plan? Oops. And that's it. Game over. I have no way to take this stupid thing. He gets his sword down, he's doubling his mana, he's going to be hitting me for 2 cards per turn, and just like that I lose the game, all because I played the wrong land. So, you know, it's so key. Every play is key, and you know, if you're not that good, you might make the play that I made and not realize that you screwed yourself. But I realized I screwed myself as soon as I did it. Like I actually thought, what's the chances he'll have a wasteland? Whatever. He won't have one. I'll just be lazy and throw the island into play. I actually thought that and got punished for it. You can't be lazy in this game. Every play has to be thought out. Oh, I was kicking myself. So I give my opponent basically a free win, although it's not like he didn't earn it. So we move into game 2, and I have to mulligan, and I have to mulligan again, and decide that I'm going to keep this, because if I can draw an island, I can mystical for mana drain, and then mana drain I can mana drain into fabricate into like Soul Ring, and then cast Factor Fiction or Mana Crypt, and then cast Factor Fiction and get both mana and cards with this hand. So I decided to keep it. Plus I'm going first, I think, yeah. So I don't get an island there, but he gets a fast start and a really aggressive start, and hymns away Fact and Counterspell. But I now have this other option for if I get a island, but I don't. I draw Strip Mine. And he plays Mother of Runes and misses a play, so I was like, alright, if I draw a land, I want to fabricate and I'll win. But if he draws something he can do that's more effective than Mother of Runes before I find a land, I lose. So I think I should, like, you know, his commander. So I figure I'm going to Strip Mine his tower since he missed a land drop. And then, you know, all I have to do is just draw a blue. Or if I draw a white, I can mystical for Tithe. You know, if I draw black, I can always mystical for Like if I drew the one swamp in the deck, I suppose I could mystical for demonic tutor and then demonic for something. So it was like, okay, I'm gonna strip mine him, but of course I'm gonna draw first because why do that? And I draw this, and that changes it. I think, okay, well, I'll just lapse whatever he plays, and then next turn maybe I'll draw a land and I can fabricate. So I just say go. And he plays Elves of Deep Shadows, so I lapse the Elves, and it's his only green source, and he misses a land drop, so it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, strip mine that. He's going to draw the Elves, he's got nothing. It might as well have been a time walk right there. Boom. Now I just need to draw pretty much any mana source, and I'm good. Except for that one. And his very next card is green, so he gets down Elves, and I am in trouble. And I draw maps, so I've almost got the third mana. Except he fetches a Deathrite Shaman, so no fetching a Crucible for me, and now he's got white. Scroll Rack, my deck is driving me crazy here. I still don't have a land here, and this is game 2 out of 3, so I'm fixing to lose. Even worse, he's going to Inquisition me, and I seriously thought about just mystical tutoring there, but I just can't. I have to draw mana. I'm just going to have to let him take the mystical tutor. But he doesn't. He takes Fabricate, which is amazing for me, because now if I draw any land, if I draw a mana, I can get Scroll Rack, and that'll turn Mox on, and then I can mystical tutor. So it's like, oh, well, okay, maybe not. Not with the Vindicate going off. Now Doran's down. Still can't find a land. So now I'm taking my Doran beats, and he seals my map away. Holy crap, man! This draw is horrible. Like I'm under so much pressure. It's insane. Doran with a GT now, and I draw a Vault. And Vault lets me play Scroll Rack, which lets me Scroll Rack. And I say go. And all of a sudden, Opal is on. It is on, baby. And that horrible situation that I was in, fixed. Into turn, Mystical Tutor. My turn, Terminus with Swords to Plowshares ready to go. And a Scroll Rack on board. How beautiful is that? So I go ahead and just Scroll Rack and find myself an Ancient Tomb. Isochron Scepter, Remand. Holy smokes, I am recovering so fast. How amazing. But my opponent has Vampiric Tutors. I figured, well, Isochron's dead. But no, he's much wiser. He Vampiric for Sylvan Library. And I've got a real problem because he just Vampiric Tutored for 9 cards. Well, 8 cards. 8 times, well, 9 really. I mean, if he eats, he goes to 38. 9 times 4 is 36. So I am in big trouble. Hey, but I've got Swords to Plowshares. So of course he pays life, and then casts nothing because of Remand there. I go ahead and just draw this, but he's already eaten my strip mine. I would have been fine if I had that. So I just chill. It's down to 18. Let's get Elves, so I go ahead and just remand it back to his hand so I can get a card. Plays Gadok Teague, thank goodness for swords, but of course he gets 2 life for Sylvan. Blah. Can't have it all though. And he gets Elves down with GT ready. So into his turn, I go ahead and Scroll Rack. I find myself Calendly Gem, man. How good is this card? With Scroll Rack right now, this thing is boss. So I draw, and down comes Calendly. Up goes 2 cards. I get to reset with the Tomb. It actually spent 4, picked up 2 lands, play a land, and look, Calendly Gem cost me 0 mana and drew me a card, basically. How freaking great. So I go ahead and Chalice for 2 and say go. I can sit on Chalice under Scepter. So, I mean, I have been losing this game, and I finally get a turn where I start winning, and he gets Sylvan, and suddenly I'm losing again. So I still feel like I'm losing this game pretty hard. He goes for Oblivion Ring, and of course I'm going to remand that. Because I need my cards. We want to slow him down. He follows up with Ring, and I figured he's going to kill the Isochron, but he kills Scroll Rack. It's not a bad choice there. I mean, he knows I have land in my hand, and Scroll Rack right here is like, I'm going to draw a card, and then I could have drawn 4 new cards. That might actually have been the right play, which is really weird considering there's an Isochron there. Or he could have taken the gem out, but that probably wouldn't have been the best. So he takes the scroll. He takes the scroll rack, and I don't really have too much going here. However, there's this thing in my. There's this thing that's been sitting out there going, "Hey, have some life," called my commander, who is a jammed a tome, and he's now protected by, well, mildly protected by remand. So I get Oloro down. He equips, and then I don't know. See, he's been paying life like crazy, and take a look. He's at 12. So if he swings in, he's gonna. I'm not gonna block because he can make his guy 5/5, but he'll only get up to 4 counters, which means he's gonna lose a life from Oloro 11, and then I'm gonna hit him for 4, and he's gonna drop to 7. Of course, Jite will give him 4 of those life back, but it's not clear cut that attacking is the right play here. I think I probably would have if I were him, but he decides not to, and of course he can't cast anything because I have remand. Anything that's too expensive he's unable to use, and that buys me some time. So I go ahead and upkeep, untap Mana Vault, draw off of Oloro, and draw, and look at that. Good stuff. So I tap County for double black, play Soul Ring and Imperial Seal. So what do you get? And of course I'm not going to swing either. What do you get with Imperial Seal there? He doesn't pay life. He's cautious of the fact that he's necroed himself down pretty hard. So he goes for Elspeth, and of course I'm going to remand that. We'll see what I got. Mystical Teachings, a very frequent tutor target. Just because, even though it's a tutor itself, it's 2 of them. 2 tutors is better than 1, right? So he plays Tanglewire, and I was like, that's interesting at this point in the game. I was thinking about it. It's actually not that bad for me. So I go ahead and just Tangle this way. And then upkeep, I draw, and then draw for the turn. And Tanglewire, I like the way these turns are going, so I decide I'm going to actually continue to stall it out some, and I transmute Muddle, and I go get, not Cyclonic Rift, but Winter Orb. And figure, that's going to be pretty hard for him to deal with the Tanglewire over there, but he's pretty crafty. He taps Jite. I didn't even think about that. So Jite Wire and Chrome Mox, so I don't actually get to tap one of his lands. I missed the Jite. I thought I could tap, he would be tapping Elves or Bayou, which would have been nice. If he tapped the Elves, I could just smash him for half his life. If he tapped the Bayou, that just makes Winter Orb better. But even though he says he had all lands 5 or 6 times, rather, beats my no land for like 9 turns. 17 turns later, on that 1 land hand, getting him to Torok, having him Vindicate, seal my lands, and then go get a Sylvan Library. I managed to pull a win out. Crazy game. So we shuffle up and we go for game 3. And as I said, you can see how good the difference between the first guy was really challenging. The second guy, completely easy. The third guy, really challenging. It just shows you, like, if you build a challenging deck, you'll be a challenging opponent. A lot of people, I don't know, in this format, they lose a lot, and then they chalk it up to, like, the other guy's got, like, something broken. But what they don't realize is the correct way they should see that is it's not that the other guy's got so much broken stuff, it's that you don't. And the fix is not whine and complain about the other guy, it's get broken stuff, put it in your deck. So anyway, most of my viewers already know that, though. I wish we could just educate the masses. So he had to mulligan twice, so I figure he's probably weak on mana, so I go ahead and strip his Bayou, even though he has a first turn elf. Usually it's not the play to strip a land when they play a first turn mana source like that, but I was hoping he didn't have any lands at all, but if he did, I was hoping he wouldn't have any black. Black is the more threatening color. Obviously I know he's playing him to Torak, so I don't want to get at least this ensures that I won't be him now for a little bit. But he's got a mana crypt, so game on for him in a sort of feast and famine. And like I said, They have something broken, you need something broken. So Vampiric Tutor, I go get my most frequent target. Mana Crypt of my own. Play Jace and whoop, go away Llanowar Elf. That buys me some time for the sword, and hopefully if he misses a land drop, that'll set him back a decent bit. So he does miss a land drop, but he plays Winter Orb, and this is a very interesting choice here, considering I'm a Winter Orb deck as well. But I can definitely see it, since it affects him basically not at all, and it's essentially vindicated one of my lands, possibly more, as we go forward. So I go ahead and Jace his elf back, and play Dark Tutelage. And the reason is because I anticipate I'm using Jace a lot to bounce, and so I need to be drawing cards, but I don't have time to draw cards with Jace, so I play Tutelage, that way I can draw cards with while I'm stalling him, and make the stall valuable. So he duresses, and here is the key, here's a key error on his part, I think. He's looking at these here, and if you're him, I don't know what you take, but what he decides to take is Remand. And considering that I'm already up to 4 mana here and drawing 2 cards a turn, I might have given some consideration to taking Karn, but we'll see. So he gets down his Llanowar Elf. I find a land, sorry, and Coalition Relic, which is really, really nice. And decide that what I'm going to go ahead and do is just continue to apply pressure on his, development. So finally he goes for Arena. Now if you remembered, I have a Karn in my hand, and if he's not really looking, this doesn't look like I have Karn because I've only got like 2 lands untapped. But this is actually the man coming down, so take a look. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. There it is. So making this Arena play just feeds into my long-term plan, and that duress, ooh, pretty costly. And look at that. Oh, I love Calming Gem, I swear. So I was looking at here, I could play Gem, but I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 is 6. I'll be 1 short. So I'm going to have to Karn now and then use Gem to reset my lands underneath Winter Orb next turn. So Karn takes down Arena. He gets down Llanowar Elves and equips. For my turn, I flip Tez, find a Muddle. Still no... I just needed a simple Swords of Plowshares or something to kill this, but I don't have it, so I go ahead and tap and play my Gem, picking up these 2 lands, and then Impulse, and I Impulse into this. And so I was just saying I wanted Swords of Plowshares, but for some reason I screwed up and untapped the wrong land. I didn't tap Articar, so I can't Swords here. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized, maybe that wasn't that bad. I actually have... It's actually not that important that I kill his Llanowar Elves here. I've got better things to do, like develop. So I actually take copy Artifact, make myself another Colony Gem, and then hit his hand. I mean, because think about it. He had only 2 cards in hand. If I hit his hand, he's down to just a 1 card. I've got Calny and a Muddle, so if his card is like Vindicate or something, I've got that covered. But he's going to attack, of course. He's going to hit me, and he's going to untap his lands. But what is he really going to do? I mean, he's going to make me discard a land thanks to Calny Gems. I could discard all day long here. So I don't really care if he untaps his lands. I only have 1 land untapped myself, so pretty much Winter Orb is not affecting either one of us at this point. So why worry about it? So I just Karn his hand, and I'm just going to keep Karning his hand. So I take, and the funny thing is, even if he doesn't hit Karn here, if he attacks Karn, it'll have 4 counters on it, and then I can just exile Sword or Llanowar Elves. He won't get to untap. So like, it's actually in a really horrible spot. So outside of like, say, Oblivion Ring, which I can't muddle, he can't really kill Karn here, because Vindicate won't do it. I've got a counter for that. And even if he does Oblivion Ring, the next turn I'm going to go 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and play a land is 9 mana. I'm just going to transmute Muddle, disenchant the Oblivion Ring, and then Karn away whatever he does anyway. So, kind of awesome here. So he plays a tap land, which makes perfect sense. And then his commander, because he needs to have something that hits a little harder so he can deal with Karn. So that's fine. and I draw a Mox Diamond, and brilliant. A perfect top deck for me there. Powered again by Colony Gem. Dude, this card is amazing. So I thought about, so I actually misplay here, and I'll show you how. I fetch with the wrong cards. I should have tapped Colony Gem and Mox and just tutored that way. So the first thing I do though is I Karn his hand. I don't want him to have, the only options I want him to have are what's in play, because what's in play is not good enough to win. And then I go ahead and transmute Muddle, and I go get Rift, and I Rift him right away. And what I should have done, as I said, was gone and get Rift, said go, let him untap only one land because of Winter Orb, then during his upkeep Rift him. But I didn't. So I Rift him now. Oops. So he's able to, you know, develop a little bit more, a lot more actually, than if I had played that differently. But it's okay. We've got Karn and a Tezzeret. So I draw during my upkeep I draw a Windswept Heath, and then I'm not quite sure what, oh, we're gonna glitch. What a crappy thing. We're gonna glitch. Yeah, okay. So during my upkeep, the card I flipped was with Dark Tutelage was Mystical Teachings. So I Mystical Teachings for Mystical Tutor, Mystical Tutored for Terminus. I Terminus him, sweep away his hand, or sweep away his creatures, and then I Karn his hand. And then after that happens, Karn has 15 counters, and I've removed, and at this point his exile is in Arena, Silverblade, Verdant Catacombs, and whatever that last card was. I can't quite remember. So on my turn, I don't even mess around. I just ultimate with Karn. I'm going to start the game with this stuff in play. Yeah, what was the last card? Yeah, I definitely don't remember, but is this bug? Is it going to totally bug out, or is it going to correct itself? Like, will the Karn ultimate happen? I wonder if this game bugged because of the Karn ultimate. That's really disappointing. Just another one of those games. It seems like I can't get a game any day. I can't make a video anymore without Magic Online bugging out. Well, I'm just gonna end it. But suffice to say, after I activate Karn's ultimate, I get to start the game with a sack land for Underground, Silverblade in an Arena, and 5 turns later he's dead. I actually I get a new hand. My hand is incredible, and he actually has to mulligan his new hand, and yeah, it just gets completely crazy drawing 2 cards a turn, starting them. I'm going first, so I get to draw 2 cards and attack. And I think my opening hand had like Soul Ring and Mana Vault in it, so like, yeah, it was just complete insanity. So anyway, sorry for the bugged out finish, but seems to be what we can expect these days. Supreme Verdict still looking reasonable to leave in the deck. Lapse versus Leak, I don't know. I think I like Lapse better still. I like the fact that it goes under Isochron, and I really like the fact that if they have a Soul Ring, you know, rampy ramp draw, you can still Lapse something, which you can't Leak then. On the other hand, if it's turn 2 and they're playing a Soul Ring, I'd much rather Leak than Lapse. You know how it goes, but I'll take the hard counter and just deal with it that way. So, hope you enjoyed those games. I had fun playing them, and I hope that you have a good Valentine's, and don't forget to do something for your sweetie. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.